Though I'm disappointed the bill didn't pass, I can't say that I'm surprised.
Californians could soon be paying more at the pump after proposed legislation targeting new carbon fuel regulations failed to move forward. Good evening, I'm Marcella Lee.
I'm Carlo Cicchetto. Those regulations passed back in November aim to reduce how much carbon is released into the air, but critics say those environmental benefits will come with a substantial cost to drivers filling up their tanks.
CBS 8's Richard Allen is here with more on the move to roll back these new rules and the pushback it received in Sacramento today. Richard?
And Carlo and Marcella, Senate Bill 2, proposed by Republican State Senator Brian Jones from San Diego, would have voided those recent changes to California's low-carbon fuel standards. Now, these are changes that some analysts say will potentially increase the price of gas by as much as 65 cents a gallon, a price hike many drivers say they cannot afford.
Just really expensive.
For many San Diegans, the cost of gas is already too much.
I have to either work more or get another job just to pay for gas.
It all adds up. So, you only spend so much money on food, so much money on gas.
That price could creep up even more after the California Air Resources Board, also known as CARB, gave the green light in November to a proposal that will limit the amount of carbon in fuel by increasing penalties for refineries that produce high-carbon gasoline and diesel, an extra cost that will likely be passed on to consumers.
These regulations have a direct correlation to the price of gasoline, and you cannot say otherwise with a straight face.
State Senate Minority Leader Brian Jones' proposed bill would have specifically rolled back these updated regulations, pointing to the financial burden on average Californians.
When the price of gasoline goes up, it costs them more to get to their job. It's less money for their kids' clothing. It's less money for their kids' food. It's less money for their kids' medical expenses.
I don't believe that your bill is the path forward.
But at today's Senate Environmental Quality Committee meeting, SB 2 failed to garner enough support to make it feasible for Jones to continue pushing for its passage, with opponents pointing to these fuel standards as a driver in developing and subsidizing low-carbon fuels, including zero-emission options like electric vehicles. Critics of the bill also question whether the updated regulations would actually translate to a gas price hike of 65 cents a gallon, which some analysts have projected.
Independent studies have found that the correlation is minimal compared to the impacts from broader market forces.
But even now, it remains unclear exactly what financial impact these updated regulations will have on the price that Californians pay at the pump.
If the appointed members of CARB don't know what their own rules are going to cost Californians, then they shouldn't be blindly approving them.
Now, in the end today, the committee failed to pass on a 2-3 vote. Technically, it was granted what's known as reconsideration, meaning it could potentially move forward. But in light of the lack of support it got, Senator Jones said he would not pursue that. But he did point out that he does plan to keep fighting to bring down gas prices for Californians.
It's pretty crazy, up to 65 cents per gallon.
That is what some analysts say. Some say it could be far less than that. Some say even as much as 85 cents. But yeah.
What are people to do? Are there any safeguards in place to protect people?
Well, the California Air Resources Board, or CARB, says they are going to monitor for any price impacts that these changes bring about. They're directing their staff to come up with what they're calling program adjustments if these price hikes actually do occur. And as you heard a lot of critics out there say, they believe they are definitely going to materialize.
So that would come after these programs start. So when do these programs actually start if something doesn't start?
Well, right now, the amendment was passed back in November. It's undergoing some slight written revisions, which is just a standard part of the process. They're saying these should go into effect sometime in the spring. Spring's right around the corner, so we should find out pretty soon whether or not these price hikes actually do materialize.
Spring is
just hours.
Yeah,
just hours
it's coming. It's coming. Yeah.
All right, Richard, I'm going to stand up of it. Thanks so much.
Thank you.